All right guys, well I figured it's time for another 4Runner update. Today we're going to be testing out the new tires I just had put on this 4Runner. These are the Firestone Destination XTs. These are in 255, 75, 17s, a pretty common Jeep size, 32 inches in diameter. This XT slots in between the Firestone Destination AT2, which is just kind of a slightly milder all-terrain, but still a really capable tire, and their mud terrain, the MT2. So this is kind of a KO2 competitor, similar to the Falcon Wild Peak AT3Ws. Basically, I wanted an all-terrain tire that would perform really well in snow. And I've got to say, these things, this might be the holy grail for all-terrain snow performance. They are severe snow service rated. Just driving these around the first few days, these things grip and rip. I am very, very impressed with their winter performance. We've got a pretty aggressive tread design. They're slightly softer than a lot of the other all-terrains I've seen out there, and that might contribute to their really nice snow performance. We'll see how they wear over time, but from first impressions, this is a really nice tire. It rides well, it's pretty quiet on the highway. The 32-inch diameter seems to fit really well on stock suspension. I've got a little bit of rubbing occasionally in reverse at full lock if I hit a bump or something, but other than that, they're pretty solid. I think you could probably run 32s, no issue on stock suspension with this 4Runner. Also, my front end is a little bit lower because of that front bumper. I even fitted a spare in there too. So we'll be doing 5 tire rotations with this, just like I did with the GX. A couple more updates. I pulled off the mud flaps just for a little bit of extra clearance, front and rear. They were rubbing on the mud flaps. We kind of adjusted this front bumper a little bit. This was coming in contact with the fender right here. And so I undid all the bolts, yanked it up a little bit, and it looks a little bit more even. Someday maybe we'll get a winch on this thing. Who knows? We'll see. I kind of want to keep this a lighter weight build. And I actually did just order a lift kit for this. Went with the Dobinson's IMS. And it's about 7-8 weeks out, back ordered right now, but I'm excited to get that on and get some proper suspension for this 4Runner. All right, guys, let's take this thing for a drive. You'll probably notice the TPMS light on. I did get some new sensors for these tires, but the computer hasn't learned them yet, so I'm gonna have to go back to Discount Tire and get them manually coded in. We've got a little bit of snow on the roads today, nothing crazy, nothing super deep, but sometimes it's these unplowed surface streets with a little bit of ice and hard-packed snow where all-terrains struggle the most. So of course, we have full-time 4-wheel drive in this 4Runner. It is the V8, and that helps a lot with winter traction. But the all-season tires that were on here before left a little bit to be desired. They just didn't really perform super well. Let's take it on some back roads here. We've got these set to the recommended 32 PSI. And we're in a couple inches of snow here. Got that center diff locked. And there's just so much grip. I'm not really used to driving the 4Runner or the GX with this much winter traction. It's pretty amazing. A few months ago, we had a G-Wagon on winter tires, and that's kind of what this reminds me of. It's just that similar level of unstoppable, unflappable grip. Braking performance is mega, just awesome. Give that center diff a break, but you guys can see the grip here is just awesome. I definitely do miss being able to turn everything off in the GX. On surface streets with slush, crossing lanes, going over large unplowed sections of snow, maybe some drifts, no issues. Super capable. These are C-load tires. They actually handle quite well. They're 2-ply, so you get a little bit of protection on the sidewalls with rocks and everything. We don't have a lot of sharp rocks here in Michigan, so I don't anticipate that being too much of an issue. Braking performance is really good. I'm very impressed on initial impressions here. And one thing I really like about these tires is that they're relatively lightweight for an aggressive all-terrain. These ones are only 40 pounds per corner, which is pretty good. You get into 3-ply tires like the KO2 and you get 46, 50 pounds per corner, and that's a lot of weight to sling around. It affects your fuel economy, it affects your handling, your ride quality. On the highway, there's just a little bit of a hum, about the same as the all seasons I had on here before. Sidewall stiffness feels like a pretty good balance for me between handling and overall ride comfort. Again, this is a taller tire for this 4Runner, so I was worried about there being a little bit too much squish, but I think it's a nice balance, especially at 32 PSI. That's what the placard says to set everything to, and just at standard pressures, this feels great. Pretty quiet over bumps. We've got a really rough section of road here, and you barely notice. It's awesome. NVH is fantastic. No reverberation, no vibrations. These tires remind me of winter tires in the sense that you really don't notice the snow is under you. It's pretty confidence inspiring. I think between the 4-wheel drive system on this 4Runner and these tires, you really don't have a lot to worry about. I'm over here dipping a corner into the snow where it hasn't been plowed, and it just barrels right through it. It doesn't even notice. Let's see what braking is like here. I mean, you can really just do kind of ridiculous stuff, and it'll take you through it. ABS isn't happy about it. Change lanes here through some of the slush. Yeah, doesn't care. Alright guys, we've got some deep snow driving here today. Literally the day after I filmed this tire review, it snowed about a foot. And let's see how the 4Runner does in some pretty deep stuff on these Firestone Destination XTs. We've got the center diff locked. I have fully disabled traction and stability control using a special method. And yeah, no problems. It's doing fine. It's a champ. Getting a little bit of rub up front. Probably going to want to get that lift on, but that'll only happen in the spring. It's doing just fine in here. Throw it into second gear, lock out that shift. Oh yes. Yeah, this is pretty deep snow, and you can see all the trucks are out here testing their traction. Doing pretty well. No problems. Good little light off-road test. Even with my clever traction and stability control method enabled, it's still cutting a little bit of power on throttle around corners if it senses wheel slip. So we've got to, we'll figure out some type of a solution for that. Gotta love this thing. It just goes everywhere. It doesn't care. All right, guys. Well, there's your deep snow test in the 4Runner. It's probably a pretty good spot for a photo opportunity too. Yeah, there we are. All right, guys. Well, there's just a quick 4Runner update for you. Nothing major, but just a few changes. Firestone did hook us up with these, but we did quite a bit of research and discussion with their engineers beforehand just to kind of make sure that we got the right tire for this build. And I gotta say, I am very, very impressed with these. I haven't really driven an all-terrain that performs this well yet. Very excited to compare these with the KO2s on my dad's FJ. We'll get that out in some snow here someday, but it's interesting because Firestone has never really been on my radar, at least with high-performance car passenger tires. And this new Destination line seems like a really good choice for people who are kind of looking for a nice all-terrain that does it all. And I will say, will highly recommend these if you're in the snow belt or you see some winter weather, or even you just need a nice set of all-terrains. They're about $220 a piece, so they're pretty affordable. They're not too expensive, in line with pretty much everything else out there. They look good, and the performance is just, I'm very, very impressed thus far. So we'll see. We'll give you guys some updates on these tires as they wear and over time throughout their life cycle. This video is partially supported by Fixed. If you guys need an OBD2 scanner, hit the link in the description, and it's a nice $20 scanner. It just plugs into the OBD2 port. You can link it up with a Fixed app on your phone and get all sorts of diagnostics information, clear engine codes, fault codes, see what's going on with that check engine light. If you already have an OBD2 Bluetooth scanner, don't worry about it, but if you need one, it works really well. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Take care.